Recently, XFL co-owner Dany Garcia appeared on Yahoo Finance's Market Summit. She discussed buying the league, how they got into it, as what they want to do next, and what it's like to be a female owner. But there was two tidbits that we found pretty interesting that she brought up. One, when they talk about the XFL and the NFL, she talks about how they're being cohorts together, but mentions that they've been talking with coaches and players about the rule book.
So I see ourselves as a cohort of the NFL. We're working in the same space, right? And we are interpreting the game slightly differently. We have a faster pace, obviously, a shorter time. We will keep a number of the rule changes that were made in the 2020 season. We're actually going through a download now with players and our coaches to see what actually did work and what didn't work, and if there were things that were a little bit rough. The access and the accessibility to the athletes, hearing the plays, seeing the reviews. We had things in place that the audience responded to in a major way. It was fascinating. You were in there and you felt like this brought you closer to the athlete on the field instead of, distancing you, because it has to be a quality of game, right? It's not about anti this or anti that. It's, can we bring the best game possible? Can it be culturally relevant to our players and to our fans and to our partners? And that is a yes for us.
So our own Mike Mitchell was able to confirm when Dany Garcia was talking about that they were talking with coaches and players. From Mike Mitchell, he says, hashtag, according to a reliable source, XFL President Jeffrey Pollack and Special Advisor Basil DeVito have been in communications over the last few weeks with a number of former XFL head coaches and other league and team football personnel. So this is good news, is that they're starting to bring people in, whether or not they're paying them full time and who is hired, but they're all starting talking about the rule book, getting the coaches involved, maybe talking to some players. So this is all good signs of what's to come. Now, one of the next big pieces that she talks about is what they want to do with the TV deal. And this TV deal with the Redbird Capital, Dany Garcia, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson team is going to be a lot different from the 2020 Oliver Luck TV deal.
The league it's a different, as we like to say, it's a different universe now for the league. Those 5 weeks actually did help to prove, and especially from the network and the media partners, they were able to see numbers, and the actual ratings and the numbers exceeded expectations. I think there was probably a public perception of what it would do, but then there was in the industry a realistic perception of could it outperform it, and it did, which was wonderful. So, going forward, having media rights deals where there are no fees, that's not the option that we're looking at. And in fact, we're in robust conversations with numerous partners, and the representation is going to be, these are different deals, and everyone's aware of them. And that's, we have, like I said, we have 5 weeks underneath our belt to discuss. But I think just as importantly, it's the execution and the opportunities that new ownership brings to the interpretation of the XFL, which begins to change the business model. And if you're taking that point of view, you begin to see a lot of white spaces, and there's more opportunities for revenue streams that we can lean into. So the business model, there's a traditional aspect because football is football, but at the same time, we've overlaid additional revenue streams, identified additional revenue opportunities, identified various ways to connect with all the participants that are around the XFL value chain. So it's not just the fans, it's also the athletes, it's also our partners and our sponsorship partners.
So the XFL 2022 is not going to be a league where it's essentially free with no fees and trying to make a deal. They've proven themselves in the 5 weeks, and it sounds like they exceeded expectations. And Dany Garcia, The Rock, and company are not going to go. They're going to look for a TV deal where they get paid, and this is big for the league. And they certainly have the players including Dany Garcia and The Rock, they know how to do this and they know how to make a deal work. And you can see from what she's talking about, they really are thinking outside of the box and other ways to monetize this league and, be more of a year-round brand. We've heard them talk about that. So who knows what will be in store. But this XFL 2022, even though the rules will be the same and the uniforms will most likely be the same, teams will be the same, but we're going to see a different kind of unique iteration when it comes to players, coaches, and on-game broadcasts. So it's going to be really exciting to see what they come up with. The question is, when are we going to hear about a potential new TV, and for who will it be with? Stay tuned to XFL News Hub as we follow this story. What an amazing journey it's been over the past 6 months. From bankruptcy to basically all hope is lost to now returning, waiting another year, and potentially getting a pretty lucrative TV deal. 2020 has certainly been a crazy year.